all my Taurus friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your November 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm referring to Taurus, I'm referring to Taurus rising as the first house and dictating the landscape of the chart. This is also applicable to Taurus sun, moon, and if you have 3 or more personal planets in Taurus, this video is for you as well. When I refer to a day and a time, it's based on the Pacific time zone, so please adjust for your location. The month starts off with a new moon making an aspect to Saturn. This new moon is in your 7th house of Scorpio, and Saturn is in your 11th house of Pisces. This is, I think, a powerful new moon because to me, there's the potential of the completion of a cycle, actually planting the seeds for something new as a result of some sort of awareness of a deep psychological imprint that Saturn has illuminated in its retrograde. Saturn is currently stationing. It will turn direct a little later in the month. And when a planet is stationing, it is at least 5 times more powerful than it is when it's in motion. So Saturn is in the house of the soul's and ancestry, and it rules history. It rules fear, obligation, duty. So somewhere you're getting an opportunity to really, through reflection, through Saturn's retrograde, to plant the seeds for something that's really much more aligned to what you want in the way of peace, harmony, joy, love, and connection in partnership. I also did a separate video on the new moon, so you might want to check that out as well. The other thing that's going on is this continued opposition between Mars and Pluto, and this is no joke. When I tell you that this is beyond tense, I can't even, the words really can't describe it. Cancer is your 3rd house. Cancer rules home and family. The 3rd house rules how I think, how I speak, the media I absorb myself with, my siblings, my workmates, my teammates. Mars is in fall here in Cancer and just about out of Cancer. It's been frustrated. It hasn't been able to express itself fully because it's had to consider other people. We see the 29th degree, which is a master degree. It is a degree where I've been through the house and now I get to display what I've learned. And here it focuses in on how I think. The 29 reduces down to an 11, and the opposition over here to Capricorn in your 9th house is really unearthing any obligations or duties or fears and repressions and limitations. And it's been unearthing these in your 9th house for years, since 2008. And these final moments here where Pluto is literally like, to me, Pluto is the gangster here because Pluto will take no prisoners in demanding that Mars come from the heart. And Mars wants to just jet on, let me get into Leo. And yet Mars is going to retrograde back into Cancer in December. But this time, the Pluto will have moved into Aquarius. So this is a really powerful opposition. I think on a world stage, we're going to see people react. They could be very violent, very passionate, very, be very, very difficult on the outside. On the inside, I think it's going to be very disruptive, but then illuminating. And that this illumination comes from the trine to Mercury here in Scorpio, which is your 7th house again. And then we have this trine to Neptune, which offers me an opportunity through Neptune's retrograde in Pisces, your 9th house. I'm sorry, Pisces is your 11th house, to really hook into my hopes and my dreams, and then use my Taurus tenacity to create daily practices of connecting to the divinity within and focusing in on what I want to experience, and being a little bit willing to shield yourself from that which is repressive. Saturn square and a half to Mars here. And this is all just the first day of the month. But this theme continues on for the first couple of weeks. Mars has a nice aspect to Uranus in your 1st house. And I think this will come into play. Uranus will come more into play when we get to the full moon in Taurus later in the month. Let's go to the 3rd. I'm gonna move it to later in the day. In fact, I'm gonna go to the evening on the 3rd, where Mars has moved into Leo. Now, when Mars moves into Leo, it's still in this opposition, but Mars is much stronger all of a sudden. All of a sudden, Mars is gotten out of the ocean and shaking off all of the what's been holding him back. And I think that this is, 2 days before the United States presidential election. So God only knows what we'll see on a world stage, but here, be mindful, because if there are actually people or situations that challenge you, Taurus, I would really, I try to avoid them. That's what I would try to do, because it's not going to be easy. I can't sugarcoat it in any way. Okay, so we also see here on this day, the 3rd, that Venus, that rules money, and Jupiter rules money, and this is your 2nd house of your skills. This opposition is an interesting one to me. 2nd, 8th house access, because it's very much about your skills, about how you think. You naturally rule the 2nd house. And I feel like Venus here is looking for expansion. Venus is looking for new ideologies, new beliefs, new potentials in business. Sagittarius rules it rules publishing and branding and marketing. And in this modern age, all the content we create on the various platforms is that very form of publishing, branding, marketing. So there's a potential here for growth, but it's being pulled back into your 2nd house by Jupiter, because Jupiter in its retrograde gets to review the details of how it really looks. And that's not always easy for Jupiter, because Jupiter wants to just be the visionary. And here Jupiter's got to be balanced, got to be a visionary, and also be willing to use your skills. And through that, money can be made or resources can be attained. So I think that's kind of exciting. Now let's go to the 11th. Venus will move into Capricorn. Not her sexiest position, but it's good for you, because Capricorn again is your 9th house. And this is where Venus starts to put into practical application the building blocks of what she wants. Now, Venus is your ruling planet. And in this moment, I feel like Venus, while she has a challenging dynamics too, right now as she enters Capricorn, I feel like the journey through Capricorn is going to, in some ways, illuminate whatever potential restrictions there have been, whatever potential, the 9th house rules branches of government like the JOD. And so I'm not saying that there's going to be but there could be things on a world stage that have you concerned about money. And at the same time, I'm thinking tuck in and just put one block in front of the other block, in front of the other block. And just like Taurus knows to do, continue to build your house. Because the world is always kind of a little bit anyway, I was going to say a crapshoot. Because this beginning, the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025 are just going to be riddled with unexpected yet expected disruptions, and inflation, etc., is going to come in play. Hopefully we see things calm down, but right now it feels a little inflamed. Let's go to the 15th at 1:28 p.m. We will see a full moon in Taurus. That's in your 1st house. Now, this is a very, very powerful new moon, because it's conjunct retrograde Uranus. And a full moon, obviously, is when the sun and the moon are in an opposition, and the moon is reflecting the sun's light. Having the sun in Scorpio reflects something, an underbelly of some kind, something that has been holding you back in some way or another. And Scorpio being your 7th house, there's the potential that this illumination could bring more peace of mind, more harmony, more some sort of personal reconciliation with the things that have had power and control over you. and now you're liberating yourself from it. You're like, you could just be sort of have an aha moment. And I think this is supported by Uranus's continued conversation with Neptune and with Pluto. And this is going to go on. These three outer planets are going to have this favorable conversation as they all change signs. So it's going to go on for years. But for now, we're excavating the underbelly of your belief system that has held you back, and now giving you wings to fly a little bit as you reconnect with your dreams and your hopes and your creativity and your ability to use your skills, your voice, and your talents. So this could be very, very exciting. Now, because I'm just so the other thing about this day, is Saturn goes direct. So while Saturn is in a challenging energy with Mercury and Jupiter, this is the push-pull is Saturn ruling history, ruling restriction, ruling limitation, government, authority. This is the mind for me. Here's Mercury on the great attractor, really starting to be aware more and more of how my thoughts are things and wanting to expand that, wanting to move that forward, wanting to Mercury's going to go retrograde at the end of the month, and it's going to hit the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius 3 times. And it's just done it on the 13th. And now, as Saturn stationing in the sky, bringing up whatever restriction has been going on, whether it be internal or external. And I think it's just going to sort of compel you on some level into some kind of action, which is whatever the illumination is of the full moon. Now we go to the 15th at the 19th at 1:28 p.m. in the afternoon, Pacific time, and Pluto moves into Aquarius. Now, that just was weird because both the 128s ring out to me as 11s. So now I'm having, through the illumination of the full moon, an awareness of my thoughts or things, and that the things I focus in on start to create the dynamics in the physical world. And this move, Pluto's giving me an opportunity to start to move into the 2.0 version of what I want for my life. And for you, it's your career. This is your public status, your 10th house, where people literally visibly see you either become a parent and you weren't a parent, or you get a great job and you start standing in leadership. It's some sort of large shift into a visible change in your leadership, ambition, status out into the world, or your community, whoever you're visible to. So it's very, very powerful transit, and that's going to be going on for the next 20 years. We have the sun entering Sagittarius on the 21st. And when this happens, I think the significance here is that as the sun moves towards, its natural pattern around the wheel, Mercury is about to station retrograde. It will go retrograde on the 25th, and they're going to cross over this way. And there's something to me that played out again about my ambition, about how I assert myself in the world, about my ego. And Mercury is giving me an opportunity to revisit, expand, and to use the tools which are the galactic center and the great attractor within this Sagittarian house and energy to bring forth a new experience and for it to be seen by the outside world. So again, there's some very powerful stuff going on for me personally, and the continued T-square between Mercury and Saturn and Jupiter is going to accentuate whatever the focus is for you personally, wherever, however your life is rolling. I'm going to do a separate video on the Mercury retrograde, but it will retrograde on the 25th. That will be at 22 degrees, and then it will go back to 6 degrees of Sagittarius. It will be hitting the great attractor again 3 times, first on the 13th of November, then retrograde on the 5th of December, and then direct again on the 27th of December. This is significant because Mercury retrograded in Sagittarius last year this time and did almost the same thing. The degrees were slightly different. So we're going to be revisiting themes that were going on back then. And again, this will have the overlay for Taurus of other people's money, power and control, even issues of sex. All eighth house matters is going to be revisited. Now we're going to end the month on a new moon, this time in Sagittarius. That's on the 30th. And that is at 10:21 p.m. And this is significant because the new moon is at 9 degrees. We just started the month with a 9-degree Scorpio new moon, and now we're seeing a 9-degree Sagittarius new moon. So whatever seeds were planted in the Scorpio energy are now going to be capitalized on and sort of watered and nurtured through the intentions placed in this new moon, the new belief systems or the new ideas for business, for commerce, for expansion, for diversity, for whatever, again, it is that you want to experience within your eighth house. And that eighth house is a financial house. It's a house where you're getting to capitalize on resources that are provided from other sources, other people, banking institutions even. So I think that this is pretty powerful. I will do a new moon video later in November to address this one. But for now, we're just touching on this briefly. Okay, that's it for my Tauruses for the month of November 2024. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I am a intuitive astrologer, and I'll be back in December with your monthly horoscope. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. Bye-bye, everybody.